Destination, McDuck Manor.
McDuck Manor? As in Scrooge McDuck? The bajillionaire?
You're finally gonna sell us.
Do it. Make Scrooge McDuck.
I'm Scrooge McDuck. I made my name being tougher than the toughies and smarter than the smarties.
Sure, you want to do it the easy way.
Oh my gosh, the nephews! What are your blood types? What's Donald really like? Who's the evil triplet?
Louie.
We're just a normal, boring family.
Normal? Boring? Ha! Donald Duck is one of the most daring adventurers of all time!
Oh no.
I run a multi-trillion-dollar business. I can handle a few juveniles for the weekend. Besides, we've got a pretty low-key day planned. I'm back! Uncharted territory! Bold new discoveries!
You guys, our family is awesome.
Aw, family truly is the greatest adventure of all on the ground.
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta, where everyone except Karen Handel supports a living wage.
It's the 9 billion names of pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm completely bloody sick of this.
So let's talk about some stuff.
Okay.
So when do we get to flip the 6th? The 20th, right?
In about 10 days?
10
What is
days.
today? We're recording on the 8th?
Yeah.
12 days.
12 days. Yeah,
the 20th.
Atlanta is in a state at the moment. Not that the rest of the country isn't, but the local race for it's the Senate seat, or is it?
No, this is a House seat.
House seat.
Yeah, believe me, if it was a Senate seat, oh my gosh, there'd be, cats and dogs living together, thermonuclear detonations. This is just the House.
Yeah.
But still, it's
Ossoff and Handel had their first debate the other day.
Yeah, and boy, she really went after him about not living in the district. And he says, I've told you this. I grew up in the district. I happen to live 5 minutes outside the district, like many other people who don't even live within miles of the district that represent it, because I'm supporting my girlfriend who's going to Emory, so she doesn't have a commute. But okay, let's bring that up again. It's like, you're a great representative. Oh, I'm just going to move it one street over, but you'll be outside the district. You're the worst representative ever.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if you're, 5 minutes away. If you're in, let's say, Savannah, then that's a little out of touch. Being within the geographic boundaries of it. I'm like, congressional districts get redrawn all the time. And if you happen to get drawn out of yours for where you reside, doesn't mean you can't represent that district.
Yeah.
It means you can't vote in that election. And she tried to be all snide about it. Like, at the very end of the debate, it was each of them, asked the other a question. His question was, did you or did you not support the defunding of Planned Parenthood when you were on the board of Susan Komen? And she, well, I was one of many, and even though when she ran previously, she made it sound like she single-handedly defunded Planned Parenthood all on her own. Now it's not so it's not so handy for her to have that on her CV, so she's downplayed. And he goes, so were you lying then, or are you lying now?
Nice.
And she came back with, so who are you going to vote for in this runoff election? And he goes, is that your question? Okay, which is her sly way of saying, can you even vote in this election? If you don't live in the district, you can't vote in it. So I'd be willing to bet easily a good 20% of the people who are representing, districts across the country don't technically live in the district itself.
Right.
And in some cases, some of them barely even have residence there. Like they decided to run for that seat, and maybe they lived there at one point but don't live there anymore. But there's no rule that says you can't be from California and represent a district in Kentucky. If they'll elect you,
right?
Sure, there's nothing illegal about that. It's just a little like, why?
Yeah.
So she's getting after him for, supporting his girlfriend. And, well, I mean, he supports his girlfriend, and people think that sounds a little weird, but yeah, he's not ancient. The kid's what? I'd say mid-30s?
Yeah, something like that.
You're allowed to still have girlfriends in your 30s.
Yeah.
Well, you're allowed to have girlfriends in your 90s if you want.
If you want, yeah.
So, I just...
And
anyway.
What was the living wage thing?
Oh, well, basically the question was, do you support a living wage? And John Ossoff said, yes, I support a living wage. If you put in 40 hours a week, 40 hours at a job, you should have enough to support yourself.
To survive, yeah.
To survive, food, shelter, clothing. Not saying you have to live luxuriously, but there should be a base, you should have. And she comes back with, this is the big difference between conservatives and liberals. I don't support a living wage. Wow.
I mean, just to say that out loud.
I mean, it's like, what this mic is on, right?
Right.
And
This
you're
is
in
on
the middle.
TV.
You're in the middle of a debate.
And an election.
Yeah. I feel good about it because I'm internally an optimist. Of course, I thought there was no chance that the orange turd would ever get anywhere near the White House, and look how that turned out.
True, yeah.
But I will say that the ratio of Karen Handel yard signs in my neighborhood and everywhere I go in the 6th District is about 20 Ossoff to 1 Handel.
Yeah, and
that means absolutely nothing.
No.
I mean, I could have 40 in front of there, but if I don't get off my ass and go vote,
right,
it doesn't make any difference how many signs you have. So let's talk more about let's talk about who's running for city council.
Yeah, local.
All you listeners in Greenland and Germany, let's talk about local Georgia politics. So
right.
good.
Well, let's talk a little bit of housekeeping. We've made a decision. This is our episode 150, which is pretty damn good, I think.
It doesn't feel an episode over 130.
Right, and we have made a little bit of a decision to slow down just a hair. We're not stopping. We're not taking the summer off. We're just gonna go every other week for for a little bit of a time.
You mean we're going by?
Weekly, yes.
Dan, I thought you'd Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is bi-weekly mean every other week or twice a week?
I think it actually means twice
both.
a week.
Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay, we are not going bi-weekly. We're going bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, yeah.
But I've heard that it could be let's put it this way: one on, one off. How about that?
Yeah, and who knows if we get something comes up that we have to get out, we'll throw one up. So just
and it's just for the summer.
Just
so
for the summer.
It's not like Star Wars. Like, oh gosh, we can't record for 2 weeks because we just did one because of Star Wars. Like, no, we'll be.
Yeah, if something comes up,
we may do an extra 2 episodes that week just for Star Wars. Like,
yeah, we've got the Dark Tower coming up in August. I mean, if that doesn't happen to fall, we're gonna. When is it coming out?
I think it's September.
September, yeah. So
I mean,
a lot of Stephen King coming up.
I don't rush to the theater for horror films. I mean, unless it's absolutely, which is it.
Yeah.
I can't think of the last horror film, and I enjoy horror films, but they're just not making me go to the theater film.
No.
And quite frankly, even it's a horror film that I don't think really needs to be seen on the big screen, but because of what it is, I need to see it immediately. There's no waiting.
The fact that we're in an age where they're back on the big screen. Well, I mean, they've been doing Stephen King movies for decades, but I mean, they've been
barely.
Yeah, they've been dubious at best.
I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from the atrocity that is Maximum Overdrive. Sorry, Stephen, who actually wrote and directed that himself.
Yeah.
I mean, of all your stories, you took the one about the cars that come to life. Really? That's the one you choose?
Yeah.
You've got some amazing stories, and okay.
Well, it's almost better him not being a director of any sort to have him do that one in a way.
Yeah, I just, I'm
him trying to do The Stand would be a poor choice as not being a director.
Is The Stand even still happening?
Last I heard it was.
I mean, if they're doing it in 2 films, they got to do The Stand as a trilogy.
At the very
and what
least.
I would actually prefer is an HBO miniseries where they
10 to 12 episodes
per season.
Per season.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, they took The Leftovers, which we'll talk about in a second.
Okay.
And they did the entire book, the only book in season 1, and then Damon Lindelof redeemed.
Okay.
Slightly.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. And the original author, whose name I cannot remember, sorry about that, they said, let's continue the story. He didn't write another book. They just continue the story of these characters and what happened through to 3 seasons. Now, have you watched any of the...
No.
Basically, the concept is it picks up, I think, about 6 months after an event called the Sudden Departure.
Okay.
Where roughly 2% of everybody on Earth disappears.
Okay.
Just like you turn
Like
around
vanishes?
to pick up, you turn around to pick the eggs up off the stove to serve them to your family, and you turn around and they're gone. They're just gone. There's no.
So it's not like a rapture situation.
No. Well, see, that was part of the things they were thinking, but there were people that were the most evil on the planet that were gone, and some of the most pious holy men were still there, and they realized, no, don't think that's what it was. No clothes are left. It's like they just
vanished.
They just gone.
Okay.
Well, were clothes left? I can't remember, because basically the actual departure itself does not happen at the beginning of the series. The series starts 6 months afterwards.
Okay. Hence the leftovers.
And the leftovers are the people who are left, on the planet with 2%. And I'm not going to give anything away, but they just wrapped up the series last Sunday.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Was it good?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Oh,
good to hear.
Yes.
Especially with a
Damon Lindelof.
property.
I think he did with The Leftovers what some would say, and I'd probably be in that camp, he should have done with Lost. Explain without explaining, make it more human, make it more... it's...
Okay.
It was just, oh, gosh... So good.
So 3 and out.
3 and out. Yeah. Well, basically 2.5 because
2.5 seasons.
Well, yeah, because season 3 is only 8 episodes.
Okay.
Because it didn't perform very well.
Okay.
HBO, when they found out that the original author wanted to continue it on, and they went, you know what? Okay. It's like getting a brand new Leftovers book for us.
Yeah.
So they did it. Ratings weren't that great, and in their wisdom, thank God, they said, all right, we'll bring you back. We'll do a Fringe like Fox did.
Right.
Your ratings aren't that great, but let's wrap it up in a shorter season.
Yeah, it's really... I think that, believe it or not, the networks have learned from, like, Deadwood and Carnival.
Your box set. Think of your box set. Think of your streaming.
Yes, you're not getting the ratings you want, but you have built a following of people who like your property, and to just cut them off and cancel it is really, you're going to lose viewers on other shows.
Exactly.
I held so much against Fox for so long.
Oh, yeah. I don't even
Firefly.
start watching new shows usually unless they get about 4 or 5 episodes in, and sometimes not even until the first season is done.
Yeah.
And I know it's been picked up for a second.
Yeah.
Unless it's something I'm just dying to see. I'm like, that sounds interesting. I'm going to wait.
Yeah, there was something on Hulu that, like, it was, I think, I was like, oh, that looked kind of interesting. And then I was like, it's only 1 season, and they didn't renew it. They didn't renew it, so I'm not going to waste the time.
Exactly. You may keep it in the back of your head, like, maybe I'll check it out if it's worth. But you know what? Unless everyone's buzzing about it or there's talk about it, I'm not going to be swayed, by how interesting a show is unless I know it's going to,
Yeah, especially if it just ends, if it's just going to stop,
Unless it's going to pull a Firefly on us.
Well, yeah.
But then again, that wasn't really that was more of a serialized show. It's not, The Great Mystery. Oh my gosh, they canceled it before the Great Mystery is revealed.
Well, it's because he didn't even get a chance to establish
exactly.
the Great Mystery.
Exactly. He was still laying out the universe
Yeah.
and the players and what the kind of rules are of the game.
Yeah, and he was, he's even said that the movie was what season 2 was going to be, was like the origin of the Reavers and her and Miranda and all that. But
we got it.
We got it.
So yes, very, 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 very worth your while to check out The Leftovers. It's, I think, a total of 28 episodes.
That's okay. That's doable.
Yeah, and the acting. Oh gosh, the actress who plays Patty in The Leftovers is the new. I can't remember her exact title, but I think it's Aunt Lily, the head trainer of the handmaidens in The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
Oh, she's another. Margot Martindale.
Yeah.
Older, not glamorous, solid acting, like amazingly solid acting. She doesn't get to act as much in Handmaids as she did in Leftovers, but my God, she's good.
Now, speaking of, you actually segued into something I was going to bring up anyway. Margot Martindale has been
character actress Margot Martindale
has been cast.
Oh no! Oh God! Oh God! Okay.
No, this is great.
Am I going to freak out?
No, you're not going to freak out. But this is just really cool.
Oh, okay.
She has been cast in the upcoming Disney reboot of DuckTales, the cartoon,
with Lin-Manuel
Miranda, David Tennant, Danny Pudi, Ben Schwartz from Parks and Rec. They're getting the current and not original, obviously, but
I don't even know what DuckTales is.
It was a cartoon in.
So she's just voice only.
Yeah, it's a voice act.
Okay.
It's a voice gig, but they're getting. It was a cartoon in the late '80s, early '90s, and it was Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Uncle Scrooge McDuck. And it was,
by the way, sidebar.
Yes.
Don't dive headfirst into a pool of gold coin.
It's terrible.
You will fuck your shit up. Very
concussions
painful.
And broken bones.
Exactly.
They did it on Family Guy.
Was that okay?
He jumped into the vault and
why?
Who thought this was a good idea? And
is it Netflix?
No, it's Disney. It's Disney Channel.
Oh, it's of course Disney.
It'll end up on Netflix because it's
of course.
Disney.
But have you noticed that a lot of these shows that you thought were just gone? I mean, who the hell wanted Full House back? And it's back.
It's back, and it's second season. They're in the middle of it.
So they're taking another look at all these properties that left people wanting more.
Yep. Gilmore Girls, obviously.
You know what I'm doing now?
What?
I watch one episode of Gilmore Girls before bed. I'm doing the entire series, which I never had time to do before the reboot kicked in. Oh God, I want to live in Stars Hollow so bad.
We've been doing that. We did that with Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
and we're in the middle of 30 Rock now. We're like 4 or 5
first
seasons.
run on 30 Rock.
Oh yeah. And we're just like one a night, maybe two if we're froggy. But it's a nice. It's a good 30-minute, 20-minute sitcom.
22 minutes.
22 minutes. But DuckTales, it was a cartoon from the 90s, and there was this weird Disney renaissance in it was like 1990, if not 1989, 88, where they had a bunch of... They kind of updated all their characters at the time, and they had DuckTales, they had something called Chippendale Rescue Rangers, they had a show called Tailspin, and it was a real big thing.
You know what else is coming back?
What?
I've heard that Steven Spielberg is bringing back Animaniacs.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, just the music, just the songs that came out of Animaniacs make it worthy, let alone everything else.
Well, Rob Paulson, who did the voice of Yakko and Pinky and a bunch of others, has been touring with Randy Rogel, who wrote all that music. And him and Tress MacNeille, who was Dot, and Jess Harnell, who was Wacko, have been touring doing the Animaniacs stuff.
I wonder.
And, we have together seen Maurice LaMarche, the Brain, and Rob Paulson at DragonCon, and, they're all still kicking and vibrant.
That's
and
the
ready
great
to go.
thing about voice. The voice may change a tiny bit, but
Yeah.
look at the Simpsons people. What are we? They're coming up on 30 years of doing this. Yeah, like in 2 more years, it'll be 30. Will it be 30? Yeah, 30 years of doing the Simpsons. They started in the 80s.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was 89.
But still.
Technically, a little earlier than that for the Tracy Ullman show.
But it wasn't really The Simpsons until
not really.
89, 90.
Well, let's face it, until about season 3, it didn't become anywhere close to the Simpsons.
what we are, yeah.
Yeah, the Homer's voice was different. The animation was, wow, it seems to be successful. Let's hand it over to those good animators in South Korea.
Yeah, not Matt Groening in his weird style.
Yes, exactly. So it's like almost the sky's the limit, except for Firefly. Thanks, Josh Whedon.
God
that could come back. Well, let's see. It's a lot easier to remount a Gilmore Girls than it is a Firefly. Just in your post, just in your budget.
Yes,
I'm saying
absolutely.
I'm not saying.
That was one of the initial problems. Was
right.
the episodes were like $1 million a piece just for the special effects.
Right, and you could bring it back and kind of cut back a bit on some of the special effects to make the budget lower. But then you get Galactica 80, and it will suck.
Yes.
Nobody wants Galactica 80,
and every cast member is still working all over the place.
Oh yeah,
Marina Baccarin's on Gotham, and Fillion was on Castle for 7 years, 6 years,
like
7
that.
seasons. Adam Baldwin's on some TNT show. Alan Tudyk's been on like a bunch of stuff. Powerless, and which is
canceled.
Rogue
One killed. All right, Alan, you're a leaf on what? And impaled through the.
But
okay,
he's doing his con man thing, which is really fun. So yeah, Firefly we lament, but yeah, we're bringing back DuckTales. They're bringing back if they bring back Animaniacs, like there's talk that Spielberg's back in.
I don't know if Does Spielberg have the clout in Hollywood to make that happen? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. But this DuckTales thing, they're getting the Disney Donald Duck guy, Tony Anselmo, who's been doing it for 35 years, since Clarence Nash, who did it from the 40s, died. You got your Paul F. Tompkins is going to be a cast member.
I don't understand the appeal of Paul F. Tompkins.
Really? You don't like Paul F.?
He ruined Best Week Ever for VH1. Ruined it.
How?
They made him the host of the show, and it was canceled within like 12 episodes or something like that. He's okay on. I got nothing really against him. I just don't understand why he gets so much work.
Oh, okay.
I'm just, I'm not going to punch him in the face if I see him. I'm just going to be nice to meet you and have no.
I've heard a lot of his stand-up. I enjoy it. I think he's very smart. And very
I have
funny.
not. My experience is strictly as a personality on TV shows. And guests. So
yeah, you'd like it. He's smart and that kind of funny.
Speaking of stand-up shows, guess who had a new stand-up special that got released last couple of days?
There's
on
been
Netflix.
a bunch. Sarah Silverman, right? I have not watched it yet.
Speck of Dust. She's still Sarah.
Awesome.
She's still Sarah. I mean, still doing the jokes about her family, and she tells one about what happened when her sister drank too much and got home and was throwing up in the toilet when she suddenly realized somebody was pulling down her underwear.
Oh.
And of course, she couldn't do anything about it because she was throwing up so violently. She kept feeling it's like, oh my gosh, And when she got done vomiting, she turned around and realized no one was there, and she was shitting herself.
Oh dear.
And that's Sarah Silverman.
Yep.
I mean, I would not want to be any member of her family, because if you ever did anything absolutely horrifying, And then she goes, hey, don't feel so bad for instance. I'm sure all my sisters have shit themselves at one point or another. I do it on the, I'm like, oh, Sarah. Okay.
Well, it's like Louis being like Louis C.K.'s kid, because he just beats up on them merciless.
It's like he loves them so much and fuck them at the same time.
Exactly.
Like to hell with you. And that, I'm not a parent, so I can't say, but I have the feeling that at the core of it, yes, you love your kids,
Yep.
but there's this special other antechamber to that love that occasionally goes, fuck that little shit.
Oh, I've
you
seen
have
it
to.
in person
Yeah.
with my sister.
Exactly. And then, you regain your composure. It's like, yes, but I love. And that's...
This is she won't mind me telling this. I was at my sister's house one time, and my niece was being a pill, and as she would be from time to time, and my sister starts putting her thumb and forefinger together.
Crushing your head?
That's exactly what she was doing. I was like, "What
Good
are you doing?"
girl.
She's like, "I'm crushing her head because she's making me crazy," and it's like, that's a good way to handle.
Oh, yes. Yes. That...
Because kids they'll make you nuts.
That I support.
Yeah.
Actually going up there and whapping them multiple times
Absolutely
in the head,
not, yeah.
that I would say no to.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No.
But yes, blowing off steam in that way, I'm sure that there are contemporary stories from friends of my parents, especially my mother, who probably said, "Oh, you should have heard the stuff your mother was talking about."
Oh yeah.
Remember that time you? Yeah, well, she was just about ready to like drive to Fresno for like a month just to be away from you.
Yeah.
Which tells you something, because dear God, who goes to Fresno? Fresno? It's a California thing.
I've heard of it, but I don't have any frame of.
It's like saying Conyers. Who the hell goes to Conyers?
Okay, that I can
There
understand.
you go. For all you Georgia people.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through all the cities and all the states so that people can go. In Kentucky, it's like, who goes to... No.
You're going to the Catskills. Why would you do that?
Oh, for a
vacation.
For a nosh and a vacation, and to have the time of your life.
Exactly.
And to, I guess, be statutorily raped by a dance instructor. Just saying.
There was a thing I just saw. You can stay at that resort now or something.
That
or
was
you
it,
could, yeah. And so yeah.
Hey, why not? I think I've seen the film maybe twice, but I think once.
I think I've only seen it once, and
it was a fine film.
I didn't like it at the time.
It didn't, it left no impression on me. It's like, okay, I could see how little girls would be like, oh, it's so dreamy, and but it didn't, but then again, they like, yeah, and I watched Star Wars, and it did nothing for me. Like,
oh yeah,
touche, young girl.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were in one of those. What was it? Not Ponce City Market, the other one, Krog Street Market, which is in Atlanta. They
Is it
popped
Krog
up.
or Krog?
It's Krog.
Is it Krog?
I've always heard it as Krog.
Oh,
Krog Street. Yeah, it doesn't sound.
Krog
appealing.
sounds better, but not much.
Yeah.
At least it's like, let's go shopping at Kroger. And you go to Kroger.
Well, you do go to Kroger, but it happens. It's Krog Street. I don't know why.
What is a Kroger? I don't know.
Anyway,
it's a small spiky mammal. No, sorry.
No, there are a bunch of these way overpriced, like they're almost like flea markets, but they're like artisanal breads and candles and.
I'm going to Krog City Market and especially Ponce City Market are basically just gentrified, mixed use, hell on earth.
Exactly.
That I've never been in, but I've had stories from people who hate them as much as I do that happened to be there and went, but this one thing was so great. Well, I feel ashamed. I had a sandwich at that artisanal thing, and it was so delicious. I feel I need to shower. I'm dirty.
I've been to Krog Street is 3 to 4 blocks away from Dad's garage, and so Tech weekends. Unfortunately, there's not much else around there that's open, and you can only eat. There's a really great pizzeria right up the street called the Matzah, but you can only eat that so many times. So,
is it a Jewish pizzeria?
No, it's very Italian.
The Matzah, huh?
No, a Matzah, Amazza.
A Mazza.
A Mazza.
Okay.
And so we've gone to Krog Street. I've been a few times, and every time I walk out, I was like, that was expensive. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Courtney and I went there one night for, was it? We went to a matzo for a date, and then we were going to see, I think, a show I'd worked on, and then we walked over to Krog's because we had extra time, so we went, and we were walking around, and we had some, like, artisanal drinking chocolate or something, which was, I know, it was like, wow, I feel like such a douchebag, and then I was sitting there going, wow, this is really good.
And I put on my glasses. It's just clear glass in it, but
Right.
it looks really good.
Right.
I put on my artisanally woven scarf from the maidens of, like, Bulgaria.
Yeah.
But northern Bulgaria, not those southern bitches.
But they just happen to have, to tie it all up and make a reason for this, Dirty Dancing was playing that night in the thing. And so, like, there was 1 million people a hair younger than us, watching Dirty Dancing.
Well, I mean,
unironically.
I distinctly remember when Dirty Dancing came out originally,
Mm-hmm.
not because of the film, but because of the music.
Yeah.
Do you love me? I actually bought the soundtrack because it resurrected some really great 60s
Absolutely,
songs.
yeah.
I was like, wow. I mean, Stand By Me, great film, great soundtrack.
Yes.
Lollipop, boom, 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 boom.
Yep,
Like,
yep,
hell
yep,
yeah.
yep.
So be it. That's why I think I would be very good as a music supervisor for television or film.
Yeah.
Because I watch stuff and I'm like, oh, that is the perfect song to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, it like.
That's what I get to do as a sound designer sometimes. It's like,
Yep.
finding, the perfect piece of music to go along with the thing is like, Courtney will, like, she looks at me funny sometimes because I'll be sitting staring at my computer, not moving for an hour, and then all of a sudden I'm like, there it is, that's it, that's the one, throw my hands up in the air because it's the absolute perfect thing. Yeah,
Yep.
you'd be great at that kind of thing. So
Yeah, well, I have a passing knowledge of music.
a little bit.
Yeah. From about 1920 to, well, about 1999.
Yeah.
I've reached that point in my life where I scroll through the news feed at Billboard or NME, and I'm like, don't know who this is, don't know who that is,
Yeah.
don't care, or look at the top, here's the top 10 albums, like, don't know, okay, I know that person, like 8 out of the 10 people, like, who are these fuckers, but hey, good on them.
Yep.
I can't, the days where I could keep on top of every single, act out there. I'm not really in that part of the business anymore where I have to be on top of it. Because that kind of knowledge made me a shit ton of money in the 90s.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I was able to, because I was selling imports and doing music distribution. So knowing what was popular and what was bubbling up and what was about to, I sold, so many copies of the first Veruca Salt album when they were on Minty Fresh, and they were just absolutely exploding locally. I said, bring this in, it's going to be huge. And it was. And then they signed I think Warner Brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
And they reissued the album, and it was huge. So
that must be.
So suck it, Donahue and Buying. Buy the stuff that I tell you to, and we're going to sell them.
Wow.
I had to fight the buying department. They said, no, that's not going anywhere. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're right. Go over to the special order desk. Yeah, I got this weird customer. They want like 40 copies of this. I don't know. Here it is. Comes in, and I have other salesmen going, oh, crap, you got the Veruca Salt? Can I get 3 of them? And I'm like sitting on a stack of them like, maybe I could do that. Sure. I could. I'm a little parched at the moment. Maybe at lunch, maybe a beer or two.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's the way it was. Back when pre-recorded physical music was a thing, that was a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Nowadays, they're like, oh, you've got that? Oh, that's nice. And I've just downloaded it online.
Yeah, now I have it too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And there's just so much content being generated all the time. It's so hard to keep up.
and that's why I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I can't even keep up with the TV shows that I'm addicted to watching.
I know.
Let alone the ones I want to try. Let alone the books I want to read, the magazines, the films, I keep saying that I'll get caught up on everything when after I retire and have more time. And I'm like, my retirement's going to have to be like 40, 50 years long
Right.
for me to maybe get caught up. If everyone stops making art in any way, shape, or form starting now, not going to happen. So, anyway.
As a little follow-up, it's good to see Wonder Woman cresting close to 140 million.
Is it already 140? Oh,
138 and change.
Must be
on Tuesday.
Yeah,
by Tuesday,
it just crested 100 million the first weekend.
Yeah,
and I'm like, good. The reactions, the reviews. I mean, I haven't heard the only thing I have heard that was a little negative was Fox News going, "Oh, it's not patriotic enough." Like, she's not an American, you fucker.
Right.
You're thinking of the 70s show, and that is not this.
Yeah.
They appropriated Wonder Woman in the 70s to be red, white, and blue, fighting for America, and that's great. That's not what this is.
No.
This is something completely different. She's an Amazonian from Paradise Island fighting in World War I in Europe.
With an American spy
with
for
one.
the British
Yeah,
Army.
Exactly. So the connection to America is that the war involved America.
He was American.
And he was American. Other than that, there's no American connection.
Right.
That's like saying, well, Das Boot was a great film, but it's not patriotic enough. Like, it's a German submarine film from World War II. How much, some people just look for something to nitpick, to be angry about. Oh, look, that uppity woman's being all popular at the box office.
That's what it is. They had to find something, and I'm just so glad that it was so universally embraced.
And the memes and stuff come out. Not to be all treacly, but it's empowering women, which not that they need empowering, but some of them need to be reminded, like, hey, you got your kick ass going on here. Here's some kick ass on the screen. Continue kicking ass, or maybe just.
Our generation had Princess Leia. I remember going back and one of the last times I watched Star Wars, I was like, man,
wait a minute, yesterday?
A couple weeks ago, yeah. On
the drive over here?
On the drive, yeah. I had it playing in the background.
Exactly.
Which is not that far out of the realm of possibility. No, watching Princess, like, I think it was after Rogue One is what it was. After I saw Rogue One, I went back and, like, the next day just watched right from the beginning. And
I did the same thing, because basically the film,
it butts up against it. Yeah.
I mean, literally, like
moments,
Yeah.
And I went back and watched the whole thing, like, just watching Princess Leia, not watching everything like I always did. And I was like, God, she at no point is
taking shit from anybody
at all. She's the toughest character in the whole goddamn
into the garbage
movie.
You flyboy.
Yeah, aren't you short for a stormtrooper? That she's never in distress.
Right.
She's never a damsel. She's a fucking
badass.
And what was the that's one of the memes going around. It was a picture of Carrie Fisher from Force Awakens, and a picture of Robin Wright from Wonder Woman, and it said, "I have," and it was a woman put it up, and it said, "I have lived long enough. I have lived to see my princesses become generals."
Generals, yes.
I mean, I was like, yes, nice. yes.
So yeah, exactly. She's Buttercup no longer.
No,
she's
and
General Buttercup.
Yeah, and she was a monster in that movie.
And you will do as she wishes.
Yeah, she'll kill you.
She'll punch you in the throat and leave you for dead. Yeah. So, yeah, that's good. I can't, I mean, I can only have a certain amount of perspective of it from just, being a male.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But the reaction I see from females and just the general vibe on it, I mean, I have a feeling if Gal Gadot wanted to, like, show up at the Hollywood Bowl and just stand there and just talk, it would sell out. Because she is hot as, I mean, not physical. I'm talking about her, her star, and I've been watching a couple interview little clips of her. And it's like, yeah, it's not that she's attractive and is a good actress. She also has her head well on straight. A couple of years in the Israeli army will knock some of the bullshit out of anybody, male or female.
Yep. I read, or I was talking to somebody today, and they said, for a lot of the reshoots that they did, she was 5 months pregnant.
What?
Yeah, she was 5 months pregnant.
Unless
and
they were all shot in London, if they were the battle scenes. Well, you know what? At 5 months,
evidently she had like a green screen thing over her belly, and they just shopped it out. I haven't sourced that yet, but I was like, that's intense.
I thought you were going to say she had this corset and she tightened. I said, no, she would never do that.
No, they just like, you can do anything now.
Why she? No, I don't think that's right, because she only has 2 kids, and they both are talking, because I saw an interview thing.
Well, this was filmed.
Well, was it? Okay.
I mean, that's what they said. So,
hey, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah.
But she's in one of these interviews they did a clip of her when she was Miss Israel in like 2004, and like she's better looking now.
Yeah,
she's just she's one of those ones like she's attractive, but she grew into her beauty.
Yep.
It's not like the hot little 20-something, and like she's 32 now, and she's an attractive woman, and I want to go see some of her other acting gigs.
She was in
a Fast and Furious, and that I could care less about. I really
and I'm sure they didn't give her anything to do.
Yeah, just look pretty and be
drive.
a badass maybe.
Yeah,
but she has some other films. I'm like, I want to see that.
She's done a bunch of Israeli films too, because she was talking. I saw an interview with her, and she was talking about when she auditioned the first time. Like she said, she didn't
for Wonder Woman.
For Wonder Woman,
okay.
yeah, for Batman Superman. She said she didn't realize that's what she was doing. She got an audition with Zack Snyder, and she was like really close to getting out of the business because she was sick of it and the rejection and all that. And she went in. She said they wouldn't tell me what I was auditioning for, and after a while, they finally. She said. She went in, auditioned, and then went and did a movie in Israel and forgot about it. And on a plane back, when she landed, she said, she said after the whole thing, after the audition, they told her, she said, so what was all that? And they were like, in Israel, do you know of a character named Wonder Woman? And she said that's when her head exploded. But she got the gig. Like she was sitting on a plane coming back from Israel talking to a quantum physicist who happened to be sitting next to her, and she's like a lot. Most of it, she's like, I'm no genius, but I was able to engage, and it was a very fascinating conversation. And when we landed, I looked at, I had like 20 messages from saying I got the job, and I couldn't tell anybody, and I screamed, and the quantum physicist was like, "Are you okay?" And she said. Yes, I'm fine. I can't tell you why. She said, so I hope if you're watching, that's what that was.
Okay. Yeah, I could see a person of her caliber being frustrated. Like, yeah, I don't want to be hot bikini girl number 7 or even the co-lead and there just because I'm beautiful. I want to be able to act and do something of substance.
And she's got, she did that movie with, what was it, Zach Galifianakis and Amy Adams, where her and who was the guy? They were the spy. They were spies.
Oh yes,
Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Yeah,
or something
like the next door. John Hamm.
Was it John Hamm?
Was it her and John Hamm?
That makes sense. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I remember that.
Yeah, and that looked pretty funny. And again, she
can do comedy and action.
Yeah,
because it's in Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got the action down, and she, it's understated, but because the character, requires it, but the comedy, she works well with the comedy.
She's just a good actor.
Oh, and someone actually, because apparently, like, hey, a woman couldn't carry a long sword down her evening dress. Well, they tested it, and yeah, you totally can. It's not every dress that you can do it,
right?
And you got to be careful, but yes, you can totally do that. So don't tell Wonder Woman she can't put a sword down the back of her dress.
Yep.
Because she will use that sword.
And good on Patty Jenkins too, for because evidently this is the first the first feature she's directed since Monster.
No,
that's what I read.
Really?
Yeah,
that's been like
2003.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that's right.
I've read that.
I know she's the first. She's the first female director to helm a superhero film.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the first female director to get $100 million
Opening weekend, exactly.
So,
what? The chicks can do what we can do? Oh my gosh!
Nope. They do it better.
It's like, I don't know if my manhood can survive it. Let me check. Oh wow, it's still there. I guess chicks are okay doing it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I hope this does open up. I really hope they're already writing Wonder Woman 2.
She said, I read a thing with Patty Jenkins said, I wasn't gonna just do it for the money. She said I wanted to make sure I did it, and I realized I have this character which is important and I loved, and this actor who was important and I loved, and I have an idea for a story. So yeah, I think she said she's definitely going to do it.
Oh, good.
I'm sure it was contracted, but she was like, I'm not going to do it just because I'm contracted.
Yeah, well, at least with Gal Gadot, I mean, you don't sign on to become Wonder Woman without options for at least one, if not more, sequels.
Yeah.
Because they don't even let you in the door whether you're brilliant or not. Like, oh, you only commit to one? That's okay. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
So,
she's committed for at least 2 Justice League movies, at least.
Yeah, that's true. So, Justice League. Okay, all right. I'm feeling better about it. Every time I see the trailer, I'm like, okay, because of her and of Jason Momoa. And I'm solid on Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, and like I said, if you go back and watch some of the Paul Dini, Bruce Timm Justice League cartoon stuff,
we're the Justice League.
No, not that one.
Wonder Woman.
Oh
my God.
Speaking of that too, I remember in the old Super Friends, whatever woman they got to do Wonder Woman sounded like B. Arthur, and like it was like a terrible, I'm Wonder Woman, and it always was off-putting. And then when in the 2000s, 90s, when they started doing the Justice League cartoons, and it was a very feminine voice, it was almost unsettling, because it's like, oh man, for so many years
she quit smoking.
But going back, if you watch some of the Justice League stuff, they let Batman be a little smarmy and like actually crack a smile and crack a joke now and again. Not often, but in certain situations he was able, to crack jokes. And so letting Affleck lighten up a little bit, I think, is going to work.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying about this is the first DC film that isn't monotone and look like a dystopian future.
Yeah,
it's like it's a superhero film. It's not all in grays and dark blues.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually some, a bit of color, a bit of levity here and there, and it doesn't look like it was shoehorned in. It's more even keeled.
Right.
It's not just everything's in the rain, or it looks like Blade Runner all the time.
Yeah, like everything's sepia, and that was my
Blade Runner coming up.
Yeah, Blade Runner coming up. That's coming this summer. Is it this summer? Or is that next year?
No, it's this year. It has to be this year.
Maybe the fall.
Yeah. We probably should have a chart of like the 9 trillion films that are
too many.
I have 9 billion films of pod.
Yeah, I have the Entertainment Weekly at home somewhere, I'm sure, with the big giant.
That's
flow.
We're gonna have to rewatch the original. Go see the.
Yeah, we need to do that because I haven't watched it in years. I don't think
I
Courtney's
actually watched
ever
it about
seen
6 months ago.
Really?
Holds up.
Yeah.
Sean Young, gorgeous. Harrison Ford kicking ass. Rutger Hauer doing
crazy.
Thing. Daryl Hannah dying.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. But that was my one down on Justice League. The first time I saw the trailer, I was like, everything looks fucking dark again. Everything looks that same copper colored sky.
Well, it's like they hey, we watched The Dark Knight. But the Dark Knight doesn't have that same.
No.
I mean, it has a dark tone thematically, but not visually.
No, it doesn't.
You know what? I guess that really is a DC. It's a DC thing.
It's a current DC.
A current DC.
Thing. Even like it's just that Batman and Superman thing, because like Suicide Squad was dark and kind of gritty and rainy,
with flashes
and
of neon green.
Yeah,
and bad dental work.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue. They gotta fix.
Meth Joker.
Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with that at some point too. Him and Affleck it doesn't look right. You know, he doesn't look smart or scary enough to take on Batman. So
well, he's too, for lack of a better term, anal expulsive, whereas Heath Ledger was anal retentive, more inward. You got crazy stuff, but what's going on with him? You couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
But with Meth Joker, it's like, I'm all out in your face, and I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
Nom, 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 nom,
yeah.
You know.
And he was never funny. Like if you watch Mark Hamill's Joker, he's crazy, but he's funny.
He's having fun being evil.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a shot in, I want to say, the Mask of the Phantasm, the one animated feature they did with Hamill.
The sequel to
Conroy.
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park?
No. Rip and destroy. It's like the pivotal Joker. It's the middle of a fight, and whoever he's fighting, obviously it must be Batman. They throw him against the table, and there's a quick flash of the table, and there's like a baseball bat, a gun, a knife, and a salami on the table, and he turns around, you know, and the next thing is him swinging the salami, and it's like that's exactly what that should be, you know.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, again, a lot of people are like, this doesn't say that the DCEU is fixed. This says they made a good movie, and
right?
They let a good filmmaker make a good movie. You
know what? Maybe it's just they let a woman take a crack at it, and they went, so it doesn't have to be this fucking emo, you know, monotone bullshit. Maybe we could inject a little femininity, but not in the sense of actual but just like feminine sensibility to some of these others, to maybe you know, broaden it up to maybe like 8-bit color as opposed to 2-bit color that you have been doing,
right?
You know, but Wonder Woman's outfit, the stars and stripes aren't on there anywhere.
Yeah, which good.
Why would they be? I mean, why limit Wonder Woman to America?
Yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh, there's a bomb about to go off in Hamburg. Get Wonder. Oh, that's right. She doesn't work outside of America.
She lives on a Mediterranean island. Why would she have anything to do?
She's
with
not off the coast of California, or Catalina,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly.
The one last thing I'll say about that is I read a thing. Every one of those Amazons were world-class athletes.
Yes, like mixed martial artists
and Olympians, and like the top-ranked female boxer in the world. And it's like, see, just do it fucking right. That's all you got to do. Think about what you're doing.
Because you think if you had given that to a male director, they all would have been wearing skimpy little outfits,
and they would have just been
and their fighting would have been like, oh, whoops, you know.
And one of them is actually a Victoria's Secret supermodel, but she's a world-class horse rider as well.
Yeah, you can be attractive and kick ass at the same time. It's very possible. Just, you know, don't put up eye candy for the sake of like, she does nothing else but stand around and looking gorgeous.
No.
You know, get the kick-assery in there, and the hotness, if you must have hotness in the film, will follow.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
I don't know, maybe this is... Do I want to say this is a turning point? Yes. Do I think it is? I'm hoping.
It's a really good first step.
I'm hoping.
Let's hope they smell the money and follow suit.
Now, I don't think this is going to be something where it's going to follow Catherine Bigelow and Wonder Woman's going to win Best Picture at the Oscars.
No. But that's not what this is for.
Right, but what I'm saying is that raise female, film directors. I want to see Sarah Polley get some Baron Munchausen little girl. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's a writer-director who does staggeringly good work, but she's more on the indie scene.
Yeah.
And then she pops over every once in a while to do a big-budget, stupid film that makes her a lot of money. And then she takes that and turns it back into her art.
Yeah, one for them and 3 for me.
Yeah, kind of like the Kate Winslet thing. Yeah. It's like, all right, I'll do your $100 million zombie pick, and now I can do 6 little indie dramas that I wrote in a row and be very happy.
Yeah, speaking of little zombie drama, The Mummy is getting beat up.
Is it getting savaged?
Critics. I don't think it's out yet, but the early,
no, it's not out yet.
The early looks are not
really
good. Yeah.
I read one article on Cinema Blend and said that the reviews are mixed.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's The Mummy. It's well-trod territory. It's Tom Cruise.
Well,
it's going to cross 100 million.
Yeah, it'll make money, but again, I think the problem is with Tom Cruise movies is Tom Cruise. Like, he's going to be Tom Cruise. He's going to be that same intense guy in every movie now and do a million stunts and fall out of planes and all kinds. And it's like, it's not going to be about the Mummy. It's going to be about that guy.
See, if I was the Kevin Feige of the Universal, monster universe, I would say maybe have a couple of lower tiered, like third or fourth billing name people, but make it about your property and the actors be competent, but nobodies.
Yeah, I like having a female mummy. That's a really cool thing.
That's a good thing.
You put her up against Tom Cruise, and it's a fucking Tom Cruise
film.
movie.
Exactly. You don't have it's not part of your monster. What do they call it? Monster universe?
Oh, what is it, like the Dark Universe or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Which is also a little.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're looking around going, "Oh yeah, we've got vampires, mummies, Frankenstein. So let's go ahead and do that." Like, good. Don't stunt cast it. Yeah. I mean, you can do a little bit of casting here and there, but let's keep it to nobody so that the story is what propels it.
Yeah.
But then the suits go, to do this the right way, we need about a $230 million budget. We're not going to even insure this picture unless it has at least somebody who has a consistent history.
Who's going to make that back twice?
Exactly. So it's like rock and hard place. It's like we can't all be George Lucas and go, that's okay, I'll put it on my tab.
Right. You can't be,
and then license it to you.
You can't get lucky like James Gunn and Disney be like, okay, we'll trust you on Chris Pratt. We don't really know who he is, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, how'd that work out? I'm going to say pretty damn good.
Yeah,
so. Pretty damn. I think it's what Guardians is in the top 3. I don't think anything's going to be Beauty and the Beast this year. As far as box office gross,
crazy money. Yeah.
Well, I mean, every girl from like 3 months to 90
has seen.
I mean, it's all,
and it was good. I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
I'll see it. I'll see it.
I'm not. I love Disney stuff, but I was never one of my favorites. But it was really well done, and I'll tell you the best part of it for me. Emma Watson's great. The guy playing the Beast is great. All the supporting cast, the clock and everything, they're great. It's fun. Kevin Kline is playing her father, and I wept every time he was on screen because he's fucking Kevin Kline back acting, and he was amazing. So
he's picking his projects very selectively.
Yeah, he doesn't work a lot.
If I don't see anything I like for 3 years, then I'm not acting for 3 years. And then if I get something I like,
and if I want to play Bob's landlord on Bob's Burgers, I'm going to do that, Mr. Fish Odor.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I'm torn about Beauty and the Beast because I hear that it has a very hint of 3 seconds of gay subtext, and that offends me so deeply.
Yeah. So it's so innocuous and quick that you will not even notice it.
Yeah.
What am
I supposed to tell my 6-year-old? If your 6-year-old can pick up on that subtext, your kid is already gay.
Yeah, and
sorry.
What am I supposed to tell my 6-year-old? That there are gay people out there?
They're out there.
They're out there,
yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And the really weird news that came out of, I don't know if we talked about it, and they're rebooting Hellboy. Did you see that?
No.
Yes, they are. Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, has written a script, gotten the money together, and they're doing a new Hellboy with a new Hellboy. It's not going to be Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman has given his blessing. I don't know if Guillermo has, because Guillermo was three. It's going to be David Harbour, who was Chief Hopper in Stranger Things. And he's a good actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, and I thought he was great in that. And it was just kind of out of nowhere. It was like, we're going to reboot, within a week, it was like, we're going to reboot Hellboy, and we have a script, and David Harbour's going to be playing Hellboy. And
that was quick.
I
never, because people were like, "Come on, let's go for that
I'm
third."
betting
because there's only 2 Hellboy films, right?
There's only 2 feature films. They did 2 animated movies with the full cast.
Right, but I'm talking about the full.
Yeah, full features. There's only 2. There's Hellboy and Golden Army. And I'm thinking that it was like the second the rights lapsed, Mike Mignola jumped on it. That's my thought.
That's true. Shoot or get off the pot, and the rights have okay.
Because Guillermo's been trying to make it, because that was 10 years ago at least, the second movie,
Yeah.
and I think Mike Mignola has just been waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally just dove on it as soon as it was there, and was like, "We're doing it. We're making a movie."
That's entirely possible.
And he said it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be R-rated, but it's going to be a little darker. They said, which. Okay, I can see that.
As long as the comedy is still there as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, he wrote the fucking thing, so yeah, you know, it's his character.
That's true. If he's writing it, then it's like
the comic creator.
It
and
is
artist
whatever
and
he
writer.
wants it to be because
Yeah.
it's his damn thing.
Right, but you know, it was based on what he wrote. You know, the original. So the comedy will be there. You know, the original stuff.
Now, what I'd like to see is, you know, if they do a sequel to the reboot. I want to see David Mamet write the script, and we'll call it Hellboy.
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of time. I will tell you in 2 weeks.
9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Benny Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and Lexaport. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard and Fine. Come on, Batgirl. Come on, Batgirl. Original music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by D-Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube, listen on SoundCloud, streams on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ.
Audio Primate.